On this episode of Tiger Vision, we leap into a new reality with one of Boston's newest and trendiest cafes, immerse ourselves into a new culture at a block party in Somerville, and learn about one new North faculty's experience in the music industry. These stories and more on this month's episode of Tiger Vision.
Hello, I'm Teddy Walsh.
And I'm Rowena Poole. With each new episode, we aim to bring you the best stories in our area that spark interest in our Newton North community.
The Boston Seaport is known for hosting some of the city's biggest events, but did you know every winter you can also pick up some of your Christmas gifts there as well? Caitlin Agnew brings us the story.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Agnew, and I'm here at the Boston Christmas Festival, and I just wanted to figure out why it's so spectacular.
For over 32 years, the Boston Christmas Festival has been a place where American artisans and craft makers come to sell their work. For us, it's also a place to get a head start on our Christmas shopping in a one-of-a-kind event.
They just love coming here because we're giving them something that's different. You know, you're the things that are on our floor you can't find anywhere else.
And that is indeed true. While walking around, you can find anything from household items and decorations to food, sweet or savory. One of the sweets you can find on the floor is the Gingerbread House competition, which is a part of a partnership with the charity Housing Families.
They create these amazing gingerbread houses and donate them to Housing Families. Housing Families sells them to corporations, and then they get to keep the money.
Not only is she trying to help Housing Families, but Jackie also has a plan to help out artisans during the Christmas season.
I'm on the organizing side, but it's with the mindset that my goal is for everybody on the floor to sell out.
And her goal is not far off, because many of the artisans do sell out.
Sold out of almost everything, and we have sold out of our everything bagels seasoning.
Not only are the artisans selling out, but they are helping each other sell out as well.
We've shopped more than too much.
In addition to giving artisans a boost in sales during the Christmas season, the festival also gives artisans a means to connect with customers to come.
We've met so many great customers that I'm sure will be long-time customers, not just here today.
These 3 days have been filled with fun, joy, and festivities. Make sure to stop by next year for all of your Christmas gifts. For NNTV, I'm Caitlin Agnew, signing off.
Thanks, Caitlin. The Boston Christmas Festival happens at the beginning of November, just in time for the holiday season.
Many founding fathers were members of the Freemasons, but did you know that the secret society also had a youth group? Michael Bigford and Gerald Adams brings us the scoop on DeMolay, an organization that helps boys become men.
Youth groups are a common part of many people's childhood. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and leadership are a few to come to mind. However, there's a lesser-known youth group that teaches young men to be better through a set of principles. It is known as DeMolay.
The officers will take their stations and the shot will come in order. Order march.
DeMolay was founded in Kansas City, Missouri in 1919 by Frank S. Land and Louis Lau as a fraternity movement for young men who lacked father figures in their lives. This was due to the massive death of men in the First World War and the influenza epidemic of 1919, which left many women as widows and young men without fathers. This lack of fatherly discipline led to many young men becoming criminals. DeMolay hoped to fix this through the disciplines they taught.
The purpose of DeMolay is to make good young men better, basically around 7 cardinal virtues: love of parents, reverence for sacred things, courtesy, comradeship, fidelity, cleanness, patriotism.
In addition to the 7 cardinal virtues, DeMolay teaches valuable life skills like public speaking, event planning, and leadership. But the most important part of DeMolay are the bonds and memories created by its members.
The most compelling moment I have in DeMolay was at LTC, which is our leadership training conference. And I was with a cabin full of guys that I'd never met. And by the end of the week, we were having these meaningful conversations that you don't get to talk about with your friends at school. You know, bad things are gonna happen in the world, but if DeMolay is there to be that buffer, we can push forward. And if we can touch another person's soul, we can truly become better men and better DeMolays.
While DeMolay teaches the benefits of brotherhood, it is the members themselves who exemplify this trait through their interactions with one another.
We had a kid back in the, I say kid, young man, back in the 1980s who was crippled. And if you know anything about the Weymouth building, it's 2 floors. And I can remember a young man picking this guy up every time he came to a meeting out of the car in the backyard of the Masonic building and carrying him up the 2 flights of stairs so that this young man could attend a meeting.
There's still always a need for strong role models for teens. If you're interested in possibly joining, visit beademolay.org to learn more about this organization as a whole.
I think in today's world, you need to have some type of compass, a good moral bearing, never hurts anybody, good friends, brotherhood. Those are all positive things in today's world.
Reporting for NNTV, this is Michael Bickford, signing off.
Thanks, guys. I can't believe DeMolay will be celebrating its 100th anniversary next year.
Are you tired of traditional cafes? Do you crave playing video games while being waited on hand and foot? Kieran Weisfeldner brings us to such an establishment.
Gaming cafes are a rarity within the United States, but a common occurrence in countries such as South Korea and China. One entrepreneur named Brian Raspberry has brought a similar establishment to Boston, Balance Patch. Balance Patch is a common term used by game developers to name updates for highly competitive games. Like most cafes, they provide a myriad of snacks, sandwiches, and of course coffee, some of which is super concentrated for those who need that caffeinated edge, such as the Nitro Cold Brew, which according to Brian,
it's almost like Guinness where it's kind of fizzly, but it's super concentrated caffeine, so legally we're only allowed to sell it in a 12-ounce cup, which is the smallest cup we have.
Now that you've had your highly concentrated caffeinated beverage, you can check out Balance Patch's high-end computers loaded with AAA games, or maybe head over to the split-screen couch with countless new and retro video game consoles to remember that classic nostalgia fun.
People are able to kind of like relive their memories, or if people are younger, they can go back and play games that maybe they wouldn't be able to do normally.
Not only does Balance Patch serve food to its patrons, the location also hosts tournaments for various games.
We're always kind of open to do tournaments with different organizations.
In the public eye, gamers are often seen as antisocial and introverted, but contrary to popular belief,
maybe it did start out like that, but it's just evolved way past that. Video games is kind of a commonplace for most people nowadays. And the other part is video gamers have always been social, but there hasn't been the mainstream or even like a location that has been, something that people wanted to go out as a video gamer, Now with, locations like ourselves, people want to go out more.
If you want to come out and just meet new people, meet new friends, this is definitely the place to come to.
And with such a success for Brian and his team, where does he see Balance Patch going?
Eventually, I would like to have more than one location around the U.S.
Let's hope for a successful future for Brian and the continuation of Balance Patch. For NNTV, this is Kieran Weisfeldner signing out.
Thanks, Kieran. I can't wait to pwn all my gamer friends at Balance Patch.
Day of the Dead is celebrated every early November in many Spanish-speaking countries. One block party in Somerville aims to carry on this tradition. Nicholas Quintana takes us there.
So why are you guys here celebrating Dia de los Muertos today?
Because my mom decided to do that.
Every year, the Taza Chocolate Factory in Somerville throws a Dia de los Muertos block party. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a 3-day holiday celebrated at the end of October in many Spanish-speaking countries. It's a time for Latinos to come together and remember their dead loved ones.
We celebrate by setting up our altar usually a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance. We give our ancestors food, so we have food set out and chocolate and drinks with all of their photographs on an altar. As long as we remember them, they always stay alive in our hearts and our minds.
Even though remembering the dead is a somber event in the US, part of Dia de los Muertos is accepting death as a natural part of life, making it a happy holiday that focuses on spending time together as a family.
This is a great place for families with kids and just for a nice place to hang out. The food is great, the people are great, and we're having a blast down here, aren't we, Charlie?
Best part about today, hanging out with the family, grabbing some good food, and being able to hang out local.
Speaking of food, the Taza Chocolate Factory's block party creates this happy ambiance of live music, art, and food trucks with authentic Mexican cuisine.
Every year it gets better. We get more and more people. We get more food trucks. This year we had elote. If you don't know what elote is, it's a Mexican street corn. It's bomb. You get pan de muerto, which is a sweet bread that you can dip into your hot chocolate. Food is amazing. The music is great. The performances are great. Free hot chocolate all day long.
In addition to all the beverages you can try, Taza also provides free samples of its famous Mexican chocolate. So if you want to try some of it and celebrate Dia de los Muertos, stop by the Taza Chocolate Factory in Somerville next year because
it's a party not to be missed, so please come and join us next year.
Reporting for NNTV, this is Nicolas Quintana, signing off.
Thanks, Nick. Be sure to check out the Taza Chocolate Factory in Somerville.
Newton North has many custodians to keep this school clean. Lily Hachi and Rafael Perone bring us the story on one custodian's life outside of school.
Fly me to the moon, let me play up there with those stars. Let me see where...
Everyone is influenced by music, but no one is more affected by it than Bob Falenka. Bob has been working as a custodian at Newton Public Schools for over 30 years, but there's nothing he loves more than music, especially those who inspired him to pursue it.
Yeah, there's only one reason. It was my father, because my father was in the record business from 1956 to 1972. And growing up, I mean, that was basically, that's what I wanted to do. I was, heavily influenced, of course. And when he became a promotion man, he knew everybody. And I mean everybody. But to me, it was just a very normal, that was the way it was. It was very normal to me. To my friends, it was like, your father's working with Jimi Hendrix, your father's working with Dean Martin. I tell everybody, I've told people for years, I probably got a better musical education from him than I could have gotten at Berklee School of Music.
Bob's always known a lot about music, and he started off in the music industry buying products from music stores to then resell. He eventually became an avid collector.
And it's always been my love and my passion, and that's just the way it turned out. Like I tell everybody, I didn't start out as a collector, it's just the way it turned out. Here's an autographed picture of Frank Sinatra. This was signed to my father, and my father's name was Frank. And that's kind of a nice thing to have, to say the least. Some guy told me what that picture was worth a while ago. Yeah, I could possibly buy a car with it. And this is Pete Best, who was the original drummer for the Beatles before Ringo Starr was their drummer. That's not an easy album to find either.
If there's one thing Newton North faculty and students should know, it's that they should never be afraid to talk to Bob, especially if it's about music.
I mean, if anybody ever wanted to come up to me and ask me a question about just anything in relation to music, chances are I could answer it, most likely. People try to stump me all the time. They do it all the time.
For Newton North TV, this is Lily Hachi, signing off.
Thanks, guys. Make sure to say hi to Bobby next time you see him in the hallway.
Stories are everywhere, and they need to be told. So if you have a story idea for us, go to newtonnorthtv@gmail.com and send us some ideas or feedback. We'd love to hear from you. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram.
That wraps up this episode of Tiger Vision. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in a few weeks.